Hey folks, this is Tom Mills with Paleo Planet. Today I'm going to make some pine pitch adhesive. Actually, it's basically a hot melt glue for putting on arrowheads, spear points, and other knife blades and things like that. It's basically a mastic. It fills gaps, but it's also fairly sturdy and it holds the point pretty well. To do that, we're going to use some pine sap, hardened pine sap from wounds in pine trees, some wood charcoal, which I'm going to crush up into a fine powder, and some horse manure, dry, basically dead dry grass. I'm going to crush that up into a powder and mix all of these things together. After making the adhesive, we're going to have an arrow point, or maybe an atlatl dart point in a force shaft. Let me show you how to haft that up and add the glue. While I'm crushing up the ingredients, I'm going to start the pine sap melting in this bowl. And I'm doing it in this bowl so that you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to crush some of the ingredients. That's the horse manure. And a friend of mine on Paleo Planet, Patrick, talked about crushing this up really fine into a fine powder. I'd never tried that before. I'm going to try it this time and see if it makes for a better mix. There's a lot of different recipes that folks employ when making this stuff. I don't really do much measuring, just kind of go by feel. As I go, I'm going to dump this into my shell here. And I'm going to crush up the wood charcoal. And also get the charcoal into a real fine powder. You don't really need one of these little bowls to be able to do this. I used to just do it on this rock. This is more convenient. A lot of it spills out otherwise off the rock. Okay, that's pretty sufficient as far as the consistency. These ingredients add a kind of body to the pitch, so it makes it less brittle and more elastic in a way, more giving. It makes for a better glue in the end. Okay, that's plenty good now. Okay, the pitch is melting real nice. There's a couple of lumps left. It actually looks like we could use a little bit more pitch with this mix, so I'm going to get some more and put it in. Okay, I've got another handful of pitch, just dried pitch. I'm going to add little bits. The smaller they are, the quicker they melt. I guess I could crush these up, but I'm just going to add them like that. Let that melt a little and be back. So I'm going to mix in, I'm going to pull it off the flame a little bit. I'm going to mix in my ingredients. Doesn't really matter what first. I'm going to put in the charcoal. Mix that up. There's going to be a lot of waste in this big container. I usually do it in just a small soup can or something like that, or occasionally in shells when I'm giving demonstrations. Make it more natural looking with the shell. Okay, I'm going to add some of the horse manure. And the way I do this is I kind of go by feel after mixing up a whole bunch of batches and kind of get a sense of how it's going to turn out. Get this back on the flame a little. As it cools, it quickly sets up, and I can tell by sort of how it's dripping, flowing, and starting to firm up if I've got a good batch or not. I'm going to add a little bit more of the manure. I often just use dead dry grass, and that works. Seems to work just as well. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. There's really no big mystery to doing all this stuff. Some folks say don't let the mixture boil, and others swear by boiling the heck out of it. I kind of go somewhere in between. I like to get it thoroughly melted, and if it boils a little bit, so be it. Doesn't seem to make too much of a difference one way or another. You get some kind of flat stick to maybe scoop some of that excess so I don't waste so much. Got a little thin slat of elderberry here. I'm use this just to scrape this all down. It's starting to set up good over here. This is going to be a nice strong batch. Where it's setting up, I'm having a real tough time even prying it off. I'm going to need a pot holder. You can see the consistency here. It gets a bit like taffy. Yeah, this is going to be a great, great mixture. I think my friend Patrick's onto something with this, crushing the horse manure real fine. I'll gather it up on the end of a stick. This way when I need to use it, I can just hold this in the fire and heat things up, as you'll see in a little bit. And just kind of gather it up a little bit at a time on a stick. Let it cool. It's helpful to have a cool surface to touch it on rather than your fingers. Gather up a little more. It'll cool on the outside faster than the inside, so it kind of slumps around a bit. And pretty much keep it off of the heat now. And it helps to have another stick to scoop out once you get towards the bottom. I use this little paddle-shaped one for that. Okay, this remnant's in there. I'm going to heat it up a little bit more again, get that liquid, and we'll gather that up. But basically we're done here. We've got us a nice batch of pitch. Still warm, so it's malleable. But in a few minutes, once that cools all the way through, it'll be hard like hot melt glue. When we want to use it, we'll heat some up, scoop some off. We're going to do that next. We're going to have to point now with this stuff. Maybe a couple of points. I think I have enough space on the video.